Thank you all so much for coming. This is Euphony, and we are very pleased that you have joined us this evening. We're going to continue our program in honor of Saint Cecilia, who is the patron saint of music. And you all have to pretend that today is November 22nd, because that is in actuality her feast day. And English composers for hundreds and hundreds of years have made it kind of a specialty to honor this particular saint. And her legend is that as she was dying, she was a Christian who was murdered by the Romans, but it took like 3 days for her to die because they didn't chop her head off all the way. And so, while she was dying, she was singing to God, and so this legend turned into her not only being the patron saint of music, but having invented the organ. So she gets credit for that as well. British composers have been setting hymns to Saint Cecilia since Purcell's time and earlier, the late 1600s. And so Benjamin Britten, when he was a young man, decided that it was his time to set a Saint Cecilia piece. And it was more important to him than usual because his birthday is actually on November 22nd. So he wanted to honor this saint that was also his kind of special patroness as well. And he came up with this poem that his very good friend W.H. Auden wrote. And it's much different than most of the St. Cecilia poems. It really is Auden telling Britten that he needs to accept himself for who he is and get on with life. And he wrote a whole series of poems about that. Britten was this very precocious child, but almost kind of wanted to stay in childhood and not move into adulthood. And this poem really discusses the lost innocence that would become Britten's major theme of almost everything he wrote. All of his operas about lost innocence and issues such as that. So Auden came up with this wonderful poem that he actually dedicated to Benjamin Britten, it says, in Auden's published version of it. And when he says, in the third part, there are 3 parts to this piece. "Oh, hang the head, impetuous child, with a tremendous brain." He's directly talking to Britten there. "Oh, weep, child, weep, oh, weep away the stain, lost innocence who wished your lover dead, weep for the lives your wishes never led." So it takes the art of music and kind of puts it into this whole new realm. So we hope you enjoy this masterpiece by Britten, Hymn to Saint Cecilia.
empty rooms. She wrote.
Appear against